I say that herpes is the worst and the best thing that ever happened to my life. Like, it is my gift from God, or whatever label you have for that word.
This is the incredible story of Beck, who used having an STD, a stigmatized virus by society, to her greatest strength. I met Beck whilst living here in Bali, and I knew her story was something I needed to share with you.
10 years ago, I contracted the herpes virus from a male friend of mine who promised me that he was STI free. At the time, I had gone through my own big disordered eating journey and really just wanted to be accepted by the external world. So when this happened, it was quite earth and life shattering for me. I went through suicide ideation and just really feeling like my sex life was ruined. No man would ever love me. No one would ever choose me. And I'd basically ruined my entire life. From that point, I dove headfirst into personal development to find tools and resources to learn how to accept myself, understand understand my human experience, and learn how to communicate courageously about everything that I had been through so that I could just be myself in this world. And now I support thousands of women all around the world to do the exact same. Dating in Bali is fun. Lots of my friends don't love it, but I'm super intentional. I'm so connected to my standards. I know exactly what I want. I know how I want to be dated. I know how I want him to lead. I know how I want him to fuck me. Like, I know how I want him to communicate with me. I love it. Like, I've had some of the best sex of my whole life since being here. And I've been meeting really cool men. Like, everyone's values align, because we either have to have a value, well, most people have a value for health and fitness. Most people have a value for lifestyle and freedom. Most people have worked considerably hard to create a freedom lifestyle for them. So I'm dating people with really common values. And because I'm so embodied in my communication, I'm having incredible experiences because of it. My biggest ick is being called hun. I hate being called hun. And men that haven't set themselves up financially. In Her Pleasure is a woman that is absolutely unfucking stoppable, who is teaching our 18-year-old men about women's pleasure so they can actually meet the needs of a woman. That's why relationships are failing.
I think one of my most famous sayings is, if you choose it to be, the worst thing that happens to you in life can end up being your greatest strength.
Yes.
And so many of my best friends, they've had something seriously bad happen to them, whether it's a death, whether it's a heartbreak, whatever it is, something's completely destroyed their world.
Yes.
And that you're left with a choice, whether to sort of ignore it and sort of suppress it and just live with it, or you deal with it and you learn and grow and you become this incredible version of yourself you never knew you could become.
Yes.
And so many people wrap that as well around their sort of career and their sort of life mission, their passion. And I think it's the source of a lot of people's strengths.
Yes.
And I think it's so inspiring that, you can take your biggest weakness and turn it into your greatest strength if you allow it to be.
Yes. Yeah. I remember when this happened, I was like, why me? Like, why? Of all the things, like, could it not have been something else? Like, literally, I was at war with it. And I remember this voice being like, I've given you so many signs for you to really find your own worthiness from within, and to learn that, like, Daniel approving of you doesn't make you worthy, and having a beautiful body doesn't make you worthy, and having X amount of dollars or a business doesn't make you worthy. And I was like, but why herpes as my teacher? And I almost heard this voice of like, do you want a car accident next? Like, at what point are you going to listen? And so that to me was like, that felt so real, hearing you maybe call it intuition or God or whatever, or higher self. But I also heard a voice that was like, there is a purpose for this. There is a reason for this. It's so much bigger than you. And I love the concept around turning your pain into your power. I also love that women do that from a really authentic place, that we meet ourselves in the part that had ourselves hurt, so that it's authentic strength and not just strength created from protection. But the thing that...
Sorry, can you explain that?
Yeah, for sure. So when something really traumatic happens and we're hurt and harmed, what is required is a healthy amount of aggression to get ourselves out of that darkness. Say, for example, for me, the herpes virus happened, and I walk out of that doctor's office feeling like my entire, like, rug ripped from under me. Oh my God, my life is ruined. My sex life is ruined. No one will love me. I'm alone in this world. I'm the only woman who has herpes. I'm the only beautiful woman who has herpes. I'm on the internet searching, like, what can I cure herpes? Can I sue the person who gave me herpes? Celebrities with herpes, beautiful women with herpes. Will I get sued if I have sex with someone and don't tell them I have herpes? And it's just like, it's just
Yeah,
so
it's a lot to
it's a
process.
lot.
Yeah.
Shock, shame, trauma. It's acute trauma. It's bang. Like you walk in the doctor's office one day thinking you're one woman, STI free. You walk out being told like I didn't know anything about STIs. I'm like, oh, just tell me what antibiotics I get to take. Tell me like what do I need to get rid of this? And the doctor's like, oh, honey, there is no cure. And in that moment, that is trauma. When you feel like you haven't chosen it, when you haven't been disclosed to, and all of a sudden, boom, your life has changed, you're grieving the STI-free version of you and you don't even know it. Yeah. You're a whole new woman, a woman who carries a stigmatized virus in society. And so from that place, with all of that shock, all of that shame, all of that terror, all of that trauma, there is required a healthy amount of aggression to essentially save you. To get my, like, I experienced suicide ideation. I hadn't been suicidal since I was 14 and bullied. And there was there was 2 weeks where I was like, I would rather die than live with this. I would rather die than anyone ever know this about me. I don't think living with this is possible because, as well, the first outbreak is the worst. And there's not a lot of information about it, or there definitely wasn't 10 years ago. There wasn't a bekantonucci on the internet talking about it. And so I didn't know. I thought that might be my experience of my pussy for the rest of my life. And if that was true, I was like, I would rather die. I can't live with this. And so what is required is a healthy amount of aggression from protection, from our nervous system to protect the selves to keep us safe. Because the human, whilst we can thrive, we are designed to survive. So then I'm like, okay, how do I keep myself safe from this deep pain, emotional pain that I went through? And then I created almost an identity of Beck that kept herself safe in the world. Like I lived in denial for 4 years where I was like, nah, I don't have herpes. Whatever. And that facade of me, that identity of me was just trying to protect Beck, not being truthful, not being vulnerable, not disclosing to the men that I was sleeping with, not telling my friends. And that got me so far and saved me. I wanted to kill myself at one stage until that facade or that strength created from protection was creating more pain in my life.
Yeah, so it's a short-term solution.
Short-term solution until I realized, whoa, true healing of this thing is actually me meeting the part of me that got so hurt. That's the true deep nervous system work for women, or for men too, but I work specifically with women, for us to go back to that version of us and truly heal the version of me that walked into that room. That was painful. That was horrible, excruciating. And so I get to go and meet her in her pain, hold her in her pain, because if I don't resolve her pain inside of me, I'm going to carry that throughout my life. And it's going to continue creating conflict and rupture in my external world until I truly do the healing on that part. And then it becomes strength from authentic strength and not strength from facade or strength from protection. It's true embodied strength.
I love that. It's kind of like, I think solving trauma, especially if it's obviously in your past, but especially in your childhood, for example.
Yes.
It's always like you'll be the person that little Beck didn't have, be the person that little Daniel didn't have.
Yes.
And you're sort of comforting your former self in a way. And it sounds exactly what you did, right?
Yes.
You had this huge pain point in your life, which you kind of brushed under the carpet, ignored, and just moved forward without even sort of addressing it.
Yes.
And then you got to this point where you just sort of had to look back and you're kind of looking into the void, right? And it's just a dark place, but you have to go through that journey to come out of it and sort of be this new version of yourself.
Yes.
But you have to be the person that you needed at that point in time, because that person's still you. She's still inside of you, that, that Beck who's in so much pain.
Yes.
So you're sort of there for her inside of you. It's a very difficult concept, which I don't think many people go through. But if you've been through it, I think you can really understand and relate to it. And now, obviously, your main sort of, I guess, your entire life now, your work, your world is around confidence to women.
Yes.
And that sort of stemmed from this whole experience, right?
Yeah, because I love, the thing that I'm most passionate about is seeing women feel turned on, and not just sexually, but just by their lives, feeling lit up, being really passionate about something and having the courage to communicate that. And through the repeated act of doing the courageous thing, I really believe that that's where confidence is born. And I feel so sad for women because that was once me, someone that, the women that I work with are typically beautiful, incredible, smart, determined women who just feel like something. Maybe it's a herpes virus, maybe it's something else that makes them a lesser person in society's eyes. So they suppress themselves or they attempt to change who they are to gain Daniel's acceptance. What can I look like? What can I say? What can I do to get you to like me? And that's the tonality from which they live their entire life. And then they feel really out of integrity with themselves, and they feel like life lacks connection. Because for as long as I'm trying to be who I think you want me to be, we're never truly connecting, because you're connecting with the part of me that's trying to get you to like me, so I'm never my authentic self. And then I maybe settle in relationships for less than what I desire. I don't believe that the kind of man that would be attracted to me would ever, the kind of man that I would be attracted to, I don't think he would ever choose me, because there's something about me that makes me unworthy. And so the woman lessens who she is, suppresses who she is, hides who she is, never truly expresses the authentic truth of who she is, hides her vulnerabilities, tries to pretend that she's confident as like a facade confidence, when underneath there's this essence of like, no, I can't be myself, and I'm not safe to be myself in this world. And I just love, like, the thing that I love most is supporting women to unpack that, so they feel they can be their biggest self, because they own so much of their vulnerability too. And I just think it's the most beautiful thing.